Yeah, it's the local jam right there. JR Pro Shacks, Sugar Smacks in Bizo. Sometimes I really do regret the fact that I do not know all the national languages in the SA, because I'd love to actually know what the fellas are saying. Good local music at that international standard. But we go right into what's important for today. Nick.
What up, Slime?
How you doing, man?
Chilling, man. I'm chilling.
How's your Monday been?
Hectic Monday, dog. Running around like crazy today, getting a lot of stuff done. It was very stressful. I'm actually coming from the office, so... You're
coming from the office at this time?
Yeah,
baby. The time now is 8 o'clock. For those of you sitting at home and watching TV, guys are out here working.
No doubt, no doubt. You well?
Man, I'm living, man. I'm living. I'm glad you came through.
I'm glad I came through. It's been, you've been wanting me to come.
Oh, no. I think we're quite persistent here at Bread and Butter.
Yeah.
We are going to get what we want at the end of the day.
Cool. No.
But the first thing we do when we get a nice interview in, right, is we say, no, spit your resume. Who are you?
My resume?
Spit that. I know it's knee long, but go for it.
My resume ain't that fly though, G.
Come on, Nick.
Well, I mean, you know, I'm CEO and co-founder of Head Honcho, lifestyle, clothing, events, marketing company. So, I mean, you know, we just basically do a whole lot of fly stuff. You know, we're in the urban sort of culture scene. And, you know, our job is basically to provide cool, you know, clothing and events and content and everything, you know, fly for the, you know, young urban consumer. Okay,
since 08. And how long was this an idea before 08 to you?
It was an idea for a very long time, my friend. My first brand was called Nine. Don't ask me why.
Okay.
That I started in 2003.
Okay.
I think a couple months after I dropped out of UCT, I started that joint.
Okay.
I mean, it was a good learning experience. You know, got it around, sold a couple of t-shirts or whatever. So basically that, although it didn't work out, that was, you know, Head Honcho is sort of the evolution of that initial idea.
Okay.
So Head Honcho is basically, you know, 10, 12 years old in terms of, you know, an idea, seed. But obviously, you know, when I started again, I met Mzo, who's our creative director, and I was like, yo, dude, you know, I got this idea. I want to bring out like a fresh urban brand, lifestyle brand.
Yeah.
Are you keen? He was like, sure enough, let's do it. But that was, what, 2 years before we started. So
okay.
I think about a year and a half. So we spent a year and a half basically just working on the idea, working on the designs, doing a lot of market research, a lot of groundwork, which is something that I feel like it's a step that a lot of kids miss. You know? You gotta do that. Don't be in a rush to put your brand out or your product out or your music out. Don't be afraid to do that initial work, you know? So that's what we did. A year and a half, we did all of that stuff, and then eventually, November 2008, I was convinced that we got something. And then we put it out, and you know, the rest is history.
Okay, you know, the one thing I like about the kind of guests that we have, and it's not to put you in the box, I ask one question and they go. They like literally go and they just...
You better stop.
No, because it has to be natural. I want the listeners at home to know everything. And I love what you mentioned, that you dropped out.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that decision, because I saw it on the Play Heroes, the Play Heroes video that you did with Play Energy Drink.
I actually just tweeted that now, that being on campus right now brings back bad memories. You know, working like out there in the lab, last minute, whatever vibes, trying to meet deadlines and stuff. It was pretty hectic, man. I mean, you know, being a young kid from, you know, the Free State coming to all the way to Cape Town. A lot of people not doing that at the time. I'm from a small town called Kwakwa in the Free State. So it was very difficult, one, to be in a big town like CPT and to try to find your own. It was very hectic, you know. I mean, school was obviously hectic, and the whole lifestyle and, you know, all the pressure and whatever was pretty hectic. But more than that, I did not enjoy the whole process, the whole, you know, the lectures, the tuts and all of that shit.
You're on some, I don't need to be here for this, man.
I'm fairly impatient. You know? I was like, you know what, okay, cool. The reason why I came to UCT obviously is to get that BCom degree or whatever, and use that as, you know, is getting into business. You know, you're nicely armed and educated.
Mm.
But for me, it became a real bore. You know, when something is, when you can't even like get out of bed. You know, you wanna make a change. So eventually, I dropped out and I worked as. Oh yeah, I only spent 8 months here, by the way. 9
Seriously.
months. I think that's a record, no?
Hold on, you know what? Because the quote for today.
First year.
Yeah, you made a decision in first year, like, yeah, no, this is not for me. The quote for today is simply, our life is no sprint, it's a marathon. You said that.
No doubt.
But now going
Did
back.
I say that?
Yeah, you said that. Destiny Man, don't worry, I know. But but my point is, as a young guy, do you regret that decision, or are there lessons that you learned when you left school that you would have never learned?
Sometimes I do, because I'm still friends with my, you know, my fellow peers at the time.
Yeah.
And a lot of them are doing very well established, working in, you know, banking, investment banking, or mining or whatever. And they chose a very, I won't say safe, but you know, a much more practical sort of approach or route.
Yeah.
And mine was never guaranteed. It was, okay, cool, you'll hustle your way to the top, you might not make it, and you got 0 degree to fall back on. So it was a very daunting thing, like, you know, dude, like, this is a crazy risk that you're taking. You know, but I'm able to chill with those cats right now, and there's mutual respect that, okay, damn, Nick, you actually did it.
Yeah.
And vice versa. I'm like, oh, I respect the route that you took too.
Yeah.
So I really don't have regrets. I'm glad I took this, you know, this route. But I mean, I would really advise anyone that's trying to, you know, do their own thing in the business world to stay in school. Keep your ass in school, you know.
Because it's rough out here.
It's rough. It's rough.
It's rough out here.
You know, it's definitely not for the faint-hearted.
So now, throughout this journey of yours, all right, you have specific kinds of music that kept you going, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, sir. I'm a big music fan, man. I'm obsessed, actually.
So what does music do for you, actually? Let me ask you that.
It inspires me, my G. You know, like, music is a soundtrack to my life. Like, I can't wake up in the morning without bumping some beats. You know, I used to study while listening to music.
Yeah.
I could never study without music.
Yeah.
You know? So, I mean, it inspires me, man. Like, you know, sometimes you put on a Ye song or a whole song at the right moment.
Oh man,
it feels you know what I mean?
Ooh, don't even go there, because it's one of those situations. Now what we got actually, Nick and I have been conversing prior to this interview, is a soundtrack to your life.
Yes, sir.
Something that you, if you were to make a record, you'd say these are the tracks that explain my journey. I've got some interesting picks here. I'm going to ask you some questions, especially this first one. Especially this number 10. We got 10 tracks that describe Nick's life. You can also engage with us if you have any questions. Hit me up on Twitter at KYEEZI. You can also hit Nick up at Nick_KAOMA. Or you can call in 021-650-5399. We've got the gentleman in studio for a little bit. But let me start previewing and let you hear some of the jams that Nick would say is a soundtrack to his life.